have you ever just looked at a teenager and thought to yourself, what on earth were they thinking? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. Their choices can seem so impulsive, so emotional, and honestly, just baffling. But it turns out there's a really powerful scientific reason for all of it, and it's all happening right inside their developing brain. All right, let's get into it.
So here's the big question we're going to tackle. Why does it seem like adolescents are almost biologically programmed to take risks? I mean, it's a pattern we see everywhere, across different cultures, all throughout history. And the answer is pretty fascinating. It's a story all about brain development.
And look, this isn't just about stereotypes of rebellious kids. The actual data is pretty stark. Check this out. One survey showed that people under 25 are nearly 5 times more likely to have recently used illicit drugs. We're talking over 31% for the younger group compared to just about 6% for adults. That shows a real measurable spike in risk-taking right during these years.
Now, this is where the stakes get really, really high. The brain is just incredibly vulnerable during this time. For instance, someone who starts using marijuana before they're 14 is more than 6 times, you heard that right, 6 times, more likely to develop a dependence than someone who waits until they're over 18. So the key takeaway here is, this isn't just about seeking thrills, it's happening during a super critical window of brain development.
So what is going on here? Well, the simple answer is that the teenage brain is nowhere near a finished product. It's actually going through one of the most massive reorganizations of its entire life. So what looks like defiance on the outside is really just fundamental development on the inside.
A huge part of this construction project is something called synaptic pruning. The best way to think about it is to imagine the brain is a sculptor. In childhood, it creates this giant block of marble with tons and tons of extra connections, or synapses. Then, during the teen years, it starts to chisel away all the connections that aren't being used. This makes the remaining pathways way faster and way more efficient. It's literally sculpting the adult mind.
And these are the main players in our story. You've got the limbic system, which is like the hub for our emotions. Then there's the prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO, in charge of planning and self-control. And finally, the striatum, which is what drives our search for rewards and new things. But here's the twist. These systems do not mature at the same speed. And that imbalance is the key to the whole puzzle. Which brings us to probably the single best metaphor for understanding the teenage brain: the engine versus the brakes. It just perfectly captures this developmental mismatch that really defines what it's like to be an adolescent. Okay, just picture this. You've got a high-performance race car. It has an engine that's been supercharged, it's roaring, it's ready to go. It is incredibly sensitive to even the slightest touch of the gas pedal. But the braking system, it's the one that came from a little family sedan. It's not that the brakes don't work at all, they're just not nearly strong enough to handle that souped-up engine.
So let's break that down a bit more. The engine, that's the brain's reward system. It gets a massive hormonal upgrade right around puberty, which makes teens hypersensitive to rewards, to novelty, and especially to social praise. Now the brakes, that's the prefrontal cortex. It's the center for logic, for impulse control. But this system matures super slowly, and it doesn't finish developing until we're in our mid-20s.
And this timeline just shows that mismatch perfectly. See that? The drive for sensation-seeking, the engine, it peaks right around age 14. But the impulse control, the brakes, that doesn't fully catch up for another 10 years or so. That gap right there, that is the period of peak vulnerability and, you guessed it, risk-taking.
Okay, so we've got a powerful engine and we've got weak brakes. But how does that actually play out in the real world? How does it translate into the behaviors we see every single day? Let's make that connection.
Well, it leads to this phenomenon scientists call hot cognition. This is the reason a teenager can calmly and rationally explain to you all the dangers of texting and driving. That's cool cognition. But then, a little while later, they do it anyway because they're with their friends and their phone buzzes. In those high-emotion, socially charged moments, the reward system, that engine, just totally takes over. The prefrontal cortex can't keep up.
There's this classic experiment that just shows this perfectly. Researchers got a bunch of teens, young adults, and put them all in a driving simulator. Their task was to decide whether to run yellow lights or not.
When they were driving by themselves, the teens took a moderate amount of risks, pretty similar to the adults. But here's the crazy part. The second their friends came into the room to watch them, their risk-taking went through the roof. The potential social reward, just looking cool in front of their friends, literally overrode their better judgment.
And as the researchers themselves concluded,
It's not that teens are just incapable of making good decisions, it's that the social situation dramatically changes the math for them. That potential reward just feels so much bigger, so much more important in that moment.
So you start to see how it all connects, right? All these classic teenage behaviors, the constant search for something new, the intense emotions, the focus on what feels good right now instead of long-term consequences, they're all directly linked back to this developmental imbalance in the brain.
So now that we understand the why behind all this, we can start to shift our whole perspective. Instead of seeing this phase as just a problem that needs to be fixed, we can start to see it as a predictable and maybe even a necessary stage of being human.
And this is a really cool thought. This wiring isn't a mistake. It's not a bug. It's a feature. From an evolutionary point of view, that powerful drive to seek out new experiences and take some risks is exactly what a young person needs to do to leave home, explore their world, and become an independent adult. It's an adaptive trait that actually fuels learning.
So what's the big takeaway here? I think it's three things. First, it's biology. It's not a character flaw. Second, this drive for risk actually serves a purpose. And third, really understanding the science is the absolute first step toward helping teens get through this period. It's not about trying to eliminate risk, but about helping support their still developing brakes.
And that really leaves us with a final and pretty important question. Knowing that a teenager's brain is basically a race car with brakes that are still being broken in, how can we be better co-pilots? How do we create environments to give them the novelty they crave, while also minimizing the potential for real harm? How do we help them cross that finish line into adulthood, safe and sound?